Oxtail prices are out of control, but I've got the perfect fix. Today I'm turning turkey neck into Ghetto Oxtail with that same rich tender flavor and that same fall off the bone goodness for a fraction of the cost. Hey, I'm Nick, and in this video I'll show you how to transform a budget cut into a dish that will have you licking your plate clean. Let's jump right in. Pretty much all the turkey neck consumed in Jamaica is imported from the States, where it's not exactly a top choice. Just like with oxtail, it has a high bone to muscle ratio, lots of connective tissue, and a tough dark meat. And just like with oxtail, these are all the things that makes it absolutely delicious. This is about 3 pounds of turkey neck, frozen and pre-cut from the meat shop. These pieces are on the thicker side, so they'll take a little longer to cook. Some butchers or meat shop will cut your turkey neck smaller if you ask, but this size is pretty standard. Turkey neck usually has a slimy, sinewy layer on the outside that I like to remove before seasoning. I know not everyone takes this step, but for me, the meat doesn't feel clean until it's gone. Once that's all cleaned up, I'll rinse the turkey neck with a splash of vinegar to cut any raw gaminess. Alright, now the turkey neck is properly cleaned, nicely washed, and all the excess water is drained. Let's get to seasoning. For spices, I like to keep it simple with a blend of familiar flavors. I'm using similar spices to what I'll typically use for oxtail, but I'm being a bit more conservative since turkey neck has a milder flavor. For this spice blend, I'm starting with about a tablespoon and a half each of salt, garlic powder, freshly ground allspice, all-purpose season. This is just a mix of dehydrated herbs and spices such as onion, garlic, and celery with a touch of salt and sugar. And finally, black pepper. Turkey neck is rich and flavorful, but still milder compared to oxtail. While oxtail can handle bold complementary spices, I prefer to go slightly lighter here to let the natural flavors of the turkey neck shine through. The garlic powder and allspice in this spice blend are perfect for giving the turkey neck a deeper, more complex flavor. Next, sprinkle the spice mixture over the turkey neck, making sure to coat each piece evenly. Take your time to get every surface covered. So far, this process is exactly how I would prepare oxtail. For oxtail though, I might add bolder spices like cloves or even a touch of star anise for extra complexity. But for turkey neck, this simpler blend works beautifully. I've got a little spice blend left over. It's basically an upgraded all-purpose season, perfect for whatever dish. Once the turkey neck is perfectly seasoned, I'm going to let it rest in the fridge for at least an hour. This gives the flavors time to really soak into the meat. While that's resting, we can work on prepping the fresh veggies we'll need to stew this ghetto oxtail. In Jamaican cuisine, it's common to take half cuts of meat and turn them into rich, flavorful dishes that truly shine. Take chicken back for example. It's an affordable cut that can be transformed into something delicious. Oxtail though has always been prized in Jamaica, but like turkey neck and chicken back, we import most of it from the US, where it historically wasn't a popular cut. These days, it seems the rest of the world has caught on and global demand has skyrocketed. To make things tougher, there's only one tail per cow, which naturally limits supply. Once the turkey neck is seasoned and rested, it's time to start building those deep flavors by browning the meat. In my pan, I'm adding a generous splash of oil and cranking the heat up to high. Once the oil is ripping hot, we'll carefully place in each piece of turkey neck. This step is essential and we'll do the same if we were making oxtail. Browning the meat is what deepens the flavor and develops those strong savory notes. Without this step, your rich stew could end up tasting more like a soup. We want a nice seared surface on each piece of turkey neck, just like this. Once they're browned, I'll remove them from the pan. Now, these brown bits at the bottom of the pan, that's called a fond and it's packed with incredible flavor. To the fond, I'm adding 1 medium onion, diced, 1.5 tablespoons of grated ginger, about 3 stalks of chopped scallion, 1 tablespoon of chopped garlic, For extra fragrance, I'm also adding in a bay leaf and a few cloves. These are classic ingredients in Jamaican oxtail recipes and they work just as well with turkey neck. And of course, we can't forget a bit of scotch bonnet pepper for some heat. Next, we'll saute all these seasonings for a minute or two to release even more flavor. Now, here's a quick tip. Sometimes the fond can burn and turn bitter if the heat was too high while browning the meat. If that happens, just switch to a clean pot and saute the seasonings with a bit of fresh oil. It won't be quite as flavorful, but at least it won't be bitter. Next, we're going to deglaze the pan with a splash of soy sauce. This helps dissolve the fond and build even more flavor. You could also use a bit of red wine for this step, it works great, but I'm keeping things traditional. After the soy sauce, I'm adding water. I'm starting with 2 cups, but we might need more later. For extra flavor, you could use chicken or beef stock instead of water. Now, here's the star, homemade browning. This adds depth, rich color, and a nice smoky touch to the turkey neck. Store-bought browning works, but it doesn't compare to homemade. I'll link a video showing how to make it easily. I'm using 2 tablespoons. Once that's in, we'll place all the brown turkey neck back into the pot. Make sure to include all the resting juices. It's a sin to waste flavor. To get every last bit, I'm rinsing the pan with about a cup of water. That brings us to 3 total cups of liquid so far. Next, add 1 cup of ketchup. This adds a touch of acidity and gives the gravy a smooth, velvety texture. Now we let it simmer. Turn the heat to low, cover the pot and let it cook for about 45 minutes to an hour. During that time, the liquid will reduce and all those flavors will concentrate into an incredible rich gravy. And that's it. Set it and forget it for now. After about 45 minutes, the turkey neck has reduced nicely and is mostly cooked. Now is the perfect time to add a diced carrot and a diced Irish potato. These will cook down and break apart, thickening the gravy and adding a satisfying richness to the dish. Carrots and potatoes are staples in most Jamaican stews. Not only do they enhance the flavor, but they're also a great way to stretch the dish a bit further, especially since veggies are usually more affordable than the protein. This reduces a bit too much, so it's going to need a cup of water. It's always better to be conservative though. These will take about 10 minutes to cook, so let's cover that up and give it some time. Long cooking brings out deep flavors and tenderizes the meat, but it can also cause some of the fresher aromas to fade. Adding fresh seasonings at the end is a simple trick to brighten up the dish and bring back that vibrant kick. But first, before we re-season, let's check on the meat to see how we did. Look at that, fall off the bone tender. Let's give it a taste and see if we need to fine tune anything. Perfect. Now I'm adding a bit of chopped garlic, a sliced onion, and just a touch more scotch bonnet pepper. Not so much for the heat, but for that fresh scotchy flavor that fades with long cooking. The next ingredient plays a similar role to carrots and potatoes and is a classic staple in Jamaican oxtail stew. A can of broad beans. These add a delicious creamy finish that ties the dish together. And to finish, I'm sprinkling over some scallion greens to top off this rich and flavorful stew. And that's our Ghetto Oxtail, rich and packed with vibrant flavors and an incredible aroma. In terms of appearance, it's almost indistinguishable from a traditional plate of oxtail. While the Ghetto Oxtail was simmering, I whipped up a pot of basmati rice and peas, the perfect sidekick to this stew. Rice and peas is easily the most popular pairing for oxtail, and I've got you covered with a detailed guide to getting it just right. I'll link it below. Wow, that's incredible. The meat is super tender, falling right off the bone. Stewed oxtail is known for its satisfying sticky texture thanks to the high collagen content in the tail breaking down during cooking. No, turkey neck doesn't have as much collagen, so you won't get that same stickiness, but otherwise this dish is as close to oxtail as you can get without actually being oxtail. Still, it's incredibly rich and delicious, a true treat on any budget. This was incredibly tasty. Happy New Year to the entire squad. I've got some exciting things in the works for the new year, so I'm really looking forward to what's coming. A big shout out to all our patrons. Your support keeps us cooking. Want something else delicious? Check out this next exciting video right here. Catch you in the next one.